Yeah. What's up, Squadron? It's your boy Adam Pax. We here, Requiem for a Tuesday, coming at you on a crisp spring day here in March. We made it. And as you heard, just popped open a fresh mate, feeling good. Love the sound, love the smell. Can't get enough of the taste. Give me a call if, you want this to be a monetary type of deal. I'm in. I'll drink these every day. I used to drink 3 a day. Sometimes it would hit 4. I'm sure I've done 5, but like consistently 3 a day for a while. And I was getting like migraines if I didn't have caffeine because there's just so much. And yeah, I switched to the bottles now. It's a little more tea like, nice little more brew qual, you know. And there's a decent amount of calf. I'm feeling calfed up, um, feeling fined. That's not right, but you know what I'm saying. Caffeinated. Here we go. Let's dive in. I mean, what are all the kids talking about these days? You know, uh, what's popping on Disney Plus? 'Cause I gotta stay relevant. It's important. If you ain't relevant, you irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? I think it's Bing Bang Boom. It's just like that, and that can be hard to come to terms with. I would assume for some people. So stay hip out there, kids, and you know, leave me alone. But on that note, I wanted to begin today talking about a movie from 2004. So clearly I'm on the spectrum of on top of all today's trends. Um, but I rewatched Dodgeball last night. Just came on to HBO, and I got to tell you, man, does that hold up well. That movie's fucking incredible. Okay, and I think the we're heading towards a very sad, maybe not even heading towards. I think we're right in the middle of it. Like just a dry spell of these weird, like very plot specific crazy comedy movies. You know what I mean? Like the entire Apatow Rogan era, which was unbelievable. I would say, could be one of the greatest comedy film runs of all time. Arguably the best. There was a good stretch in the 80s, but I mean, where else could you just go for like 10 years almost and just like banger after banger? I don't know. It's pretty hard to say. But yeah, I mean, we're not really getting these like a well-written story genre film that happens to be a comedy. I think is like the perfect avenue to go. Um I mean, Superbad isn't really that, I guess, if you want to take that out of there. It might be the best movie of the bunch, but you know what I mean? Like, they're all, like, really, like, crazy-ass movies. Or really human and realistic. Like, it's one or the other. And pretty much that doesn't exist. You just get, like, your Adam Sandler flicks coming straight to Netflix. And I guess everybody's eating them up. Who knows? I think Netflix just has to save face at every opportunity they can at this point. But you know what I mean? Like I just want that high concept comedy movie, and I just don't think we're getting it. I think that if Netflix is the one, the studio behind it, then they're greenlighting the wrong people. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. Where there hasn't been like a generational, I feel like movie in the sense of comedy in a long time. You know, like Pineapple Express. I would consider that an all-time classic already for sure in my book. What was that like 10 years ago? That might be the last one. That feels like it's really gonna hold up for like a long time. I could be wrong about that. I would love to be wrong about that. If there's something I'm forgetting, pinch me right now and, let's get out of this nightmare. But anyway, Yeah, I mean, when Ben Stiller just goes for it, he really does become just another guy. Like, it is insane that that is Ben Stiller. You know what I mean? Like, you clearly recognize him, and it makes it more ridiculous. But I mean, like, that character is like out of this world insane. Like, the energy you have to tap into to just be that guy for those long stretches of time is insane. And pretty 50-50 on Stiller, but I respect his commitment to all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really get Zoolander. I would have to rewatch it. It's been a long, long time, like years and years. But yeah, I mean, like, it's fine. I don't think that that's like anything world breaking. So I don't know, but I mean, I really respect how much he just goes for it because like Heavyweight's unreal, you know, and yeah. So you're growing on me, Ben Stiller, you know, and obviously, he gets big ups for Jerry Stiller being his dad. Like, if could you imagine having Frank Costanza as your dad? Like, you know what I mean? He had to do that, and I'm sure Jerry Stiller is an incredibly nice man, but he had to raise his voice at some point, and so he knows. I bet Ben Stiller does not watch Seinfeld episodes that his dad's in. Maybe he gives him like a traumatic flashback. Um, you want some kasha? I genuinely feel that if this were accepted, which I think is the hardest part of what I'm trying to say. So okay, I guess what I would like to do if this were all up to me and there would be no repercussions or like anything that I would have to like do to like make it okay or like make something up to somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like clean slate, I just get this approval and there are no issues along with it. I would probably want to do Festivus in like a family setting. Now, that sounds insane because I get that like the whole thing is crazy, right? But I feel like my entire life I have celebrated Christmas in an incredibly secular way. You know what I mean? Like I celebrate Santa's Christmas. So it's like why even celebrate Christmas? Because that's not the point. Like whatever anybody wants to say, like literally that's not the point. You know what I mean? So it's like, why not use this one that's like not fully made up? Because I think if you make up your own thing, then it's not special anyway. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of claim that it is, but like nobody gives a shit. That's like trying to tell your kid like today's mom day or whatever and expect them that to just like that they'll chill out for once, but then they're gonna go eat fucking Captain Crunch and like spaz out. Anyway, that's avoidable, is all I'm saying. But anyway, I just think that so at least it has like some lore to it. I mean, Seinfeld is one of the greatest things ever made in my book. So like big ups. So it's like you can still watch like Christmas movies cuz like it's tis the season still. Like you're not like disacknowledging it. Isn't it like on the 23rd? I'm pretty sure anyway. So that's cool. Like it gets to come earlier. So that's nice for everybody. The pole, easy to store, easy to decorate. You can wrap lights around it, make it look really dope. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be exactly like it was. Like you make it your own, just like everybody does with Christmas. Like there's like generic Christmas traditions that not everybody, but a lot of people like at least loosely follow. But then everybody still does their own thing. You know what I mean? Like on Christmas Eve, I eat little hot dog croissants. That's a big thing on Christmas Eve for me. You know what I mean? That's not regular. Okay? It's one of the only times of the year my mom makes her famous spinach quiche. And I absolutely enjoy it thoroughly every time. But is that a Christmas tradition? Not as far as I know, you know? So what I'm saying is like it's not that weird. It wouldn't be that weird to do it. Like it's not that hard to explain. Because I think the weird thing about it is obviously that it's like traumatic because it has like airing of grievances and feats of strength, right? But I think you can make those into like fun things. Airing of grievances is a little bit tough, Maybe that one, like you just do like a family roast, but it's like lighthearted, and if anybody does like a bad thing, you know what I mean? Like you establish that it's like a game, right? That one's a little tricky though. I would have to do more thinking on that. But like feats of strength, you could just do like family arm wrestling, like again for fun. You could maybe get competitive, but no matter what, like nobody's getting hurt. You know what I mean? And then like one day, the kid beats the dad or the mom, and then it's like how the tables have turned. You know what I mean? So the shoes on the other foot, table, which is turned. Absolutely phenomenal line. I love that forever. Social Network. You go, JT. Um, I was for a while gonna try to be I wanted to be the guy who loved Man of the Woods or whatever. 'Cause I thought the cover art was cool, and I thought it was kind of an interesting concept, like like electro future country or whatever. Like that sounds like a crazy JT style thing, like the modern future sex, but it's got a brawny brawny guy feel to it. I mean, I'm in. And it's not as bad as initial critical reception would lead you to believe. But it's still not good. Like it's not like a sleeper cult classic or whatever, or a sleeper classic. It's like oh, that's not as bad as we thought. Like you know what I mean? And then you can maybe play one or two of the songs and be like, all right, yeah, okay, I can put that in a rotation somewhere. You know. But maybe you could turn airing of grievances into like a little like Jeopardy style like quiz thing. And you kind of laugh about maybe funny little moments you guys had throughout the year. You kind of reflect on it and like laugh at it, get past it. You know, yeah, maybe it's the opposite. Like maybe it's called the airing of grievances, but like all you're doing is trying to like make amends. Like it's intentionally like, you know, a nice thing to look forward to. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have to be a goofy, like, angry thing. I just think it's an interesting secular way to celebrate with everybody else right around the same time. And, its belief system is based in Seinfeld. So, like, you don't got to get anything jumbled up. It's all right there. And I just think that that sounds really nice. And it's lower pressure. You know what I mean? It's a lot less work. And then you can still eat like the same food. You can still have a Christmas dinner on Christmas if you want. You know what I mean? Like you can still do whatever you want. That's what I'm saying. There's like no rules. You can celebrate both, I guess. But I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? You just do it 2 days early, and if you don't want to do it on that day, you can still just like have your Festivus dinner on Christmas Day because like you're both off work or whatever the situation may be. You know, it doesn't have to have all those crazy rules. There's plenty of times when people celebrate Christmas a day early or a day late anyway because of a family thing in the first place. So all the same rules that apply, all the same types of things you do. I'm just saying, you just like don't have to make it about that. And this isn't me trying to convince. I'm just saying like this is my logic behind it. And to me, that sounds like paradise. Just a nice and easy, you know, low stakes fun scenario. That's that's like a dream come true on a daily basis. I wish every day was Festivus. You know what I mean? I think that we could all we could all use the Festivus spirit a little more often. And yeah. But yeah, this mate has got me a little bit juiced if you know what I'm saying. Um Man, there's nothing like okay, so the caffeine label on the side. This is also the glass one, the glass bottle like tea ones are technically supplements. They're like not even drinks, which is crazy and probably some kind of loophole that saves the money if I had to guess. But I fully like it's fully organic and like super dope still. So like I don't think that anything here is a scheme. I just think that like yeah, I mean this shit makes me fucking feel great. So I'll treat it as a supplement. But anyway, it's delicious, so it's a drink. What a perplexing scenario. How do you decide, right? So anyway, it has a caffeine rating. So it goes from light to bright to lifted to glowing to mighty. All of those sound incredible. Like that's the good kind of wording that I want to hear. You know what I mean? Like you go to Starbucks and they're all just large in different languages, and that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And I'll never remember which ones they are. I will never remember which ones they are. So I just say medium, because I don't want to accidentally get the biggest one and spend $14 or whatever. But like, you know what I mean? This is a nice, like, light, like, it's real, like, yoga like. And I always feel like if I was ever to get into any kind of exercise, it would be yoga. And I looked into it briefly. But it turns out that it's pretty fucking expensive to do that shit, and I don't understand why. So we need like a yoga Peloton where, let me pay $2.99 a month for these dumb classes. Like, it shouldn't cost that much for someone to show you how to stretch. I'm just saying, these people are like $60 a month and you can go 3 times or some shit like that. It's like, what? That is insane. You know what I mean? Give me like an unlimited thing. For $60 a month, you can go like, they're like, yeah, you can come like twice a week. It's like, are you out of your mind? I just had no idea. I mean, this may be normal. It may not be normal. I don't know if it's a thing that people would even recommend. Like, maybe you should just do it in your house. I kind of have the space for it. It'd be at a weird angle, but yeah, I mean, if there's like a YouTube class, it's probably just the best way to do it anyway. But I'm just saying, like, I just think that is outrageous, because there's this really dope spot. It's like a garage thing. I don't know if the place is cool or good or not. It just looks dope that it's a garage. I like converted spaces a lot. I think that that's useful. I always try to find ways to make like if I ever have a place with a walk-in closet, it's going to turn into some kind of room. You know what I mean? Ideally, I would want it to be big enough, like, okay, like to have like a basketball setup in there, like a little mini hoop, and you can maybe do like one-on-one, like drive and layup, like back and forth. So invent some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of like knockout style game, but it's with layups. I think that would be fun. But yeah, so things like that. I really want to do. I don't remember if I've talked about it, so sorry, but I'm gonna do it again. Um, I've always had this idea to like buy a plot of land and put like tiny homes on it and make like a little tiny home neighborhood on one part with like fences. I think I mentioned that already. Then the other part would be like the garage conversion, where like you can, or somebody with a detached garage, like you convert their garage into tiny homes. Or like, I've always wanted to like see if I could like, another idea, like, personally. By the way, I'm in love with those 2 ideas I just said. I just breezed past them because I think I've mentioned them already, and if I haven't, then let me know. I'll elaborate later. Um, I've always wanted to try to like have a detached garage and then like build like a stage in it and maybe like a little bar on the side and like put a toilet and sink in there and like wall it off really small and tight, obviously, but then basically make it like a little like stand-up venue, because there's just not a lot of places I feel like that people can go. But like a nice DIY stand-up venue where like everybody can sign up, and then, you know what I mean, it could be free. I don't really care, but you know what I mean, like a nice little setup like that. Um, and like garage open in the summer. I think it'd be nice. That's why I don't want it to be music, because like no matter what season it is, it's either going to be really hot or really cold in there, and you can't do anything about it. Whereas like stand up, everybody would be standing. Also, that would be like the shitty part, I guess. In my vision, anyway. But if chairs would help, they would help. But ideally, I would want it like packed full of people. Stage would have to be pretty tiny and like almost like a little like one of those like exercise trampolines, maybe like double that size, but a circle like that, and then just like make it kind of tall, you know. So it'd have to be a little bit weird for sure, but I think that would be a lot of fun, and yeah, I don't know. I would enjoy something like that, but yeah, maybe a thing like that for yoga or whatever. Any type of converted space I'm into. You let me know. Like, oh, this used to be a boat, but now it's a restaurant, and I'm like, oh my god, that's super tight. Like, I think I know that they're like gimmicky, but like those train restaurants or plane restaurants, I think that's awesome. You know what I mean? I kind of love like, I don't know if I like themed restaurants, but I like the converted aspect of those things, if that makes sense. The I absolutely adore Bubba Gump though, so that I think that that is a phenomenal establishment that I hope never goes away. Even though I'm not really willing to go to Navy Pier to do it. But anytime I travel somewhere that has a Bubba Gump, I make sure to go. So I don't know if that makes up for it or not. But man, getting to Navy Pier, I just hate it. It's just awful. So sorry, Bubba Gump. But if there's ever talk of the one at Navy Pier closing, you better believe I'll go before it closes. So everybody better keep me posted on that one. Okay? I'm not missing out on that coleslaw. They do trivia at the table. I love trivia. I need to go to trivia night. Holler at me. But man, I'm feeling good, you know. Got this nice juice flowing through me, you know. I'm pumping, right? And I got the window open. What a magical day. You know what I mean? What better could happen? It's like a bird's going to swoop me up and drop me off in a land of grapes and velvet. Right? Like how much better could it get? Damn, I almost held it together for that one. But yeah, wouldn't that be fun? Man, I was just having like last night I was like in and out of sleep. I was like in one of those like you're awake technically, but you're in that like dream state, and I just kept having visions like for of making this movie. And I feel like I could like it would be doable without money, right? The only thing I'm concerned about is the sound, because I just feel like there's no way I get it. iPhone cameras are unbelievable. They shoot 4K. I know that that's not what movies like look like. Like they don't look like iPhone things. Even though like Soderbergh's been doing it. So like if Soderbergh is like like nobody's shitting on him, obviously he's deserves all the respect in the world. But I almost feel like that would be more the reason why people would be like, you know, like dicks about it. I think it's dope. Um, but I mean, I'm glad that it's working. You know what I mean? So like that's just a great sign for everybody, like that he would do that and take that step, so like other people aren't self conscious about it. Whether that's part of his reasoning or not, I think that that is a natural after effect. But no matter what, like you need booms and stuff. Like nothing captures audio better. Like you know what I mean? Like you need to have microphones around. I think you can get away with making it look good, no problem. But I think that that would be really hard. Um, but I did have a thought of it to be like experimental in that like it would have no sound other than sound design, and like any conversation would just be in subtitles. And I want the movie to be in black and white, and like it would basically just be like following somebody for a day. But just like the shots and yeah, like the thematics, not for like a day, like a couple days, and it would basically just be like I don't know, yeah, it would just be more about like the shots and the look and things like that, and it would kind of be about like isolation, and I think it would be I think it would be pretty sick. Um, I just think like having the time and trying to get somebody involved would be really difficult, and that's usually the case with any type of project. So like, I don't know. Sometimes it sucks to have ideas that you know you can't really execute, or like I guess I really could find a way if I really really tried. So I mean, I guess that's on me for not like trying to put that kind of effort in. You know, I'll admit that part. But I mean, I genuinely wouldn't really know where to start. Um, But that's the issue with like the script I wrote. It's like now it just sits, and I know that it needs work and that it could be adjusted, but like the fact that I don't know what to do with it in the first place is like, why would I keep working on this? And then like even if I make it like what I think is perfect, I genuinely don't know like what like what do I do with it now? Do I have to call somebody? You know, like how do I even like tell anybody that this happened? You know what I'm saying? It just baffles me. I have absolutely zero insight or any type of like um like knowledge or thought of discovery on how it would even be possible, you know. So I guess I kind of just like let that sit. But so it's the same type of scenario. It's like even if we did a lot of stuff, blah blah blah. Because at least like if you make your own movie, you can submit it to like small film festivals, like local ones. You can try for the big ones, obviously, like a full city one. But I mean, like there's options there. Like you would know what to do with it when you're done. So that's cool. But the starting process of that is a lot more grand than just writing something. So like basically I know the end result of what to do with a movie, but not the beginning. And I know the beginning thing of how to write a thing. You just write it, but then you don't know what to do with it when you're done. It's an interesting paradox. So I guess I need to find somebody who knows how to start something, and then and then maybe I can help them finish. Yeah, I guess that's my thing. I I can't start and finish. I can only do one or the other. So if you don't want to do one or the other, you come to me and I can do the other. And forget about it. We'll make it happen. Whew. I'm just gonna keep referencing this mate because I'm taking little pauses. You can't tell. Haha. That's what we call really lazy editing. That I try to act like doesn't happen, but then reveal. So yeah, I've been taking little sips. I'm just getting little boosts every couple times. And it's just keeping me live, keeping me going. So this is definitely the percolator episode, where your boy just keeps lifting till he's glowing. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
That's always fun. I really want to try to incorporate this thing a lot more. I may have mentioned this before, but I use this like in this weird little like Tascam mic interface that's kind of made for like streaming and also I guess just like this. It has these trigger pads for like samples, but for whatever reason they don't come through. They come through like on the speaker, but not into the thing. So I have to figure out what the deal is with that. But then like the effect is built in. I can do this like reverb thing where I kind of sound like, I'm screaming down the hallway. But yeah, it's just fun, and I like it because like the sample things. What I was trying to say is like what I would like to do more is like not just use the effect more, but use these like sound cues to maybe cue up some stuff. That was always part of the original plan, but then the buttons didn't work. Uh, so I'm not sure why, but this thing's dope, and I love using it, and it's like on clearance everywhere right now. So if you're looking to like set up a thing like this, I mean, you could do. I use Logic, but like you could do GarageBand with this thing as the interface. All you need is an XLR and a mic. You can get a cheap one of those. Like you can get it started up pretty cheap now that this thing is like super discounted. Yeah, so definitely do that. It also has a thing to like plug in your phone and you can like play stuff off that. I haven't really tested that. I would assume that it also doesn't play like the other cues. But yeah, if I can get that going at some point, there may be more like sound effects and just maybe like sound bits and stuff like that. Maybe I could have some drops. Nothing like having a killer drop. I could only have 3, but I guess I could like cycle through them and change them out throughout the whole thing. It's pretty cool. Comes with a little app. Anyway, I digress. I don't know where that tangent really came from. I just kind of decided to push a button. I went DD on y'all from Dexter's Lab. For those who don't remember, what about the creator of that show? I mean, I'll butcher his name, so I'm not gonna say it. But I mean, to go like Dexter to Samurai Jack is like out of this world. You know what I'm saying? Like those two alone, those are like all-time shows for very different and overlapping fan bases of many kinds. Like Samurai Jack is like the coolest like hybrid style cartoon like ever. Like I had no idea that wasn't like a foreign imported show. Like I assumed that show was like from Japan. I mean that as like when it was out and like when I was a kid. Like obviously now just knowing you can kind of just tell. But I mean whatever. Whether that makes me dumb or not, like that's what I thought. Like that show rips anyway. And then the new season, like that super dramatic shit was unbelievable. Um, I still don't think I finished. It would be dope if he did like his version of Batman or something. Like if he did the Batman Beyond reboot, since they're not going to do it as the fucking movie, as I discussed earlier in another ep. Yeah, another ep of my pod, bruh. Okay. Anyway, um, but like that would be cool. I don't know if he would want to do that. Obviously, he's clearly very creative and got his own thing going on. But anyway, and then he did Clone Wars, which apparently people love. I don't like the animation style, and I don't like Star Wars in the first place. But regardless, people love that shit too, and you know what I mean. Apparently, as far as I can tell, um, and then that show Primal seems pretty cool. Like the animation is always unbelievable. The artwork is insane. Like using the negative thing like that in Samurai Jack was just, and Primal kind of looks similar. But yeah, mad respect for the work. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I just feel like if I made my own little indie movie and it was cool in like a nice gritty, like black and white film style, obviously I wouldn't go get like. I mean, if I could find like a super cheap like Super 8 camera with like black and white reels at like a thrift store, like by some miracle, sure. I wouldn't really know what to do with it after that, though. Then like especially. But yeah, I just think it'd be a lot of fun. I don't know. And I think that I could make something that I like a lot. And I find that much like this show and my music, pretty much everything I do, there's no real audience for, and that's fine. Hopefully that'll change. But I'm getting stuff out that at least I am kind of enjoy, or I at least enjoyed making. You know, and I feel like I would definitely be satisfied with that. Like I have a couple like videos on my personal YouTube that are just like some animations I did in college. I just didn't take those down, not to like show anybody, but like why take them down? It's something I made. It's definitely not on YouTube for anybody. But then I have like some lyric videos on there. One kind of reminds me of like when I started because it was like my first one. And then there's two that I just did on my own because I felt like it, and that's the best way to really get something out of you. I think, like if you're doing it on your own, you'll probably put in the amount of effort you are really willing to. You know what I mean? Like you'll genuinely get behind something to a certain degree, no matter what, if you decide to do it. But there's always a case when like if it's an assignment of any kind, whether it be work or school. There may be a part of you that just wants nothing to do with it. You may not want to do it, period. So it might not come out the way I won't say the way you want, because I would say that most things don't come out exactly the way you want. You know what I mean? It's just way easier to imagine. Um, but anyway, none of that was really the point. So I just mean, yeah. So then there's like a couple videos up there that like I made. There's no views really, but it's cool. Sometimes I just look back at them and I'm like, wow, like nice job, little pat on the back. And then just keep working on whatever you want to work on, and hopefully something catches on. But if your sole reason for doing anything, like sole reason, is just like I need to blow up, just because my goal is to blow up, then I disagree with that. I suppose I don't really know. I don't really have a stance on that. Do your thing. Like if it works out, great. You know. Uh, when I mean, not that I'm like an old guy, but like a couple of years ago, you know what I mean? I was way more jealous of people that were doing stuff like, and not like I would stop talking to anybody or anything, but like it would just like bother me. I would get mad when certain people got, maybe they got booked at a cool gig, or like, oh, like somebody I at least kind of know is like going on tour, and it's like, what? You know what I mean? Something like that. I don't know. Or somebody gets a job, that's way better than yours, and you're like, fuck, man, like why did that happen? Anyway, And now I'm just like, man, like that's dope. Like whatever works out is great. uh, yeah, here I am, Mr. Positivity, ladies and gentlemen. I'm putting things into perspective for you. Glad I can give you the sage advice you needed. But yeah, I don't know. I think that like the goal of like obviously publicly sharing anything that you create or think or whatever is with somewhat of a goal of gaining a following, like an audience, whatever. And it, I just think that some people like will be like, oh, that didn't work. I'm either gonna try a new thing or I'm out. You know what I mean? But I don't know what I'm really trying to say or saying. So you can take that as whatever you feel like. uh, that just kind of happened. But maybe that's just like me passive aggressively, subconsciously talking through um, my my crazy decision to keep doing this. That's always possible. You can't. If L.A. Noir taught me anything, okay, if Rockstar Video Games um got through with any of the lessons they've been trying to teach over the years, it's that you can't rule out any of the suspects or possibilities, and there's lots of ways that things can go. So yeah, kept that bit up a little bit too long, but you get the point. I'm a crazy guy. Come get some pizza. Um, I love Italian restaurants, and that may sound very generic and common, but I think that what an Italian restaurant is to somebody is very different based on where they're from. Whether that be regionally or even like within one specific, like, you know, metropolitan area, whatever you want to call it, or like whatever county, who knows? It may be that small of a difference, but I just realized that like to me mainly, like at least in my experience, like if you say like an Italian restaurant, like I guess I'm gonna think of a place that's like, ooh, put the napkin on your lap, we're getting the fresh grated parm, the guy's wearing a bow tie and a vest, and like, you know what I mean? Everything, all the names of the entrees are in Italian, and you feel like a fucking idiot when you order and you're spending too much cash. And then it's like either way too much food, which is like pretty dope in my opinion every time, or it's like a pretentious amount of like food and you're like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that? Now like that's the place I'm gonna try to think of, but I realized that the like the only like the best Italian restaurants are those pizza places that are like local one-off type places that have like a super extensive menu, and they like even cater and shit, and it's like they sell everything from like ribs to cheeseburgers to gyros and then they got slices, but then they do pizza, and then they do like double crust deep dish. you know they do fried chicken, like they sell every fucking thing ever. Like those are the best Italian restaurants. And then they have like the nightly specials where it's like, oh, here's a steak and ravioli and with a salad and and a drink, and it's like $8.99 on Wednesday, and like they have one every day, and it's like this place is insane. Those are the best Italian restaurants in the world, and I don't know if that's a local thing to like the suburb I grew up in, or like a Chicago thing. Period. Specifically, like the entire area, whatever. It may be that in combination or not in combination. The other thing might just be like an income thing. Like, is that the poor people's Italian restaurant? That very may well be the case. But I just realized, like, to me, the only Italian restaurants I've been to are like the Olive Garden, which I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Like, that shit's good, okay? And that's pretty much it. I mean, what are you fucking expecting? Like, it's a chain place, and that is way better than like TGI Fridays, and I love TGI Fridays. Okay, so I'll clarify that. I was gonna say Applebee's, but it's like Jesus. If you compare anything to fucking Applebee's, it might as well be a Denny's, right? Like that's scum of the earth type shit. They have those crazy deals, and I'm like, those deals are good, but they're at Applebee's, so why would I even go? I won't like it. Like that's how bad Applebee's is. They can't even trick me into it with low, low prices. And then the other one is like the Italian thing at the Epcot World Tour, whatever that's called, the World Bridge thing, which was incredibly authentic. As far as I'm concerned, we had to make a reservation. And like at like nighttime because it was way too late. And the dude was like, the waiter was imported from Italy. It said his name and then the city he like immigrated from. And I don't know if you're supposed to believe that, but even if, like, you know what I mean? Even if it's fake, then that's terrible. Like, no matter what, it seemed weird to me. And I was like 11 or, around there. And I remember it was like insanely expensive. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, are these prices in euros too? Like, Jesus. But it was like nuts food. Like, it was way different than like any type of Italian food I've ever had in like every type of quality way and everything. It was unbelievable. I don't know if it's still like that, but that was like a 5-star restaurant as far as I'm concerned. Like that place, or I guess if we're going on Michelin, that place could have had a Michelin star and it would not have shocked me, is all I'm saying. And then I remember the American one. It was like getting a burger at Six Flags. It was like one of those, it's indoors, but like there's no windows or doors, so it's outdoors. So there's like tiles, but they're outside technically, and everything's just grimy and there's flies everywhere. And you know what I mean? Like that's what the American one was like. And it's like you couldn't have made it into like a Fuddruckers or something. Like how is Buttfuckers not the first place you think of when you think of America? Like that's not what you're gonna replicate, Disney. Like that's how Disney gives us so much of a fuck about their image and like all of that. But they're like, yeah, American American people are fucking disgusting, and then everybody still goes there and eats. I'm sure that's how I remember it anyway. But yeah, I can't really tell you what time. And then there's like a couple other places that were like local Italian spots that I've been to. But I feel like that's all the type of Italian restaurants there are. The other ones I can think of like Maggiano's and then like Italy, like those big ones, but I haven't been to those. And so yeah, I just think like those little pizza shops, those are like the backbone of of communities. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. There was this spot, Sir Nick's, right by right by my parents' house, still there. Absolute magic in Streamwood, Illinois. Look it up, ladies and gentlemen. And then Nana's in Streamwood. Institutions, honestly. Like, if those places were established in the city, I think that they would be a lot bigger of a deal. I know that they're a big deal out there. You better believe it. I think if they were just like a little bit closer, maybe like Gene and Jude style, how it's like not that far outside of the city. Like if it was a little bit closer, I think definitely people would make the trek for it. I think it's that worth it. But anyway, that's what I think of an Italian restaurant when it comes to mind. If you really break it down, that's all I'm saying. They use a lot of foil stuff. But yeah, you get what I'm talking about. Anyway, so yeah, this is really enthralling, captivating entertainment. So, make sure you let people know that things like this are being said, because I feel like this is really cutting edge shit that I'm spewing out here, and we gotta make sure this shit is known, because who knows, who knows. Modelo virus is real. Oh, sorry. Got it mixed up. I mean, isn't it mandatory at this point to throw in a bit about it? A bit about it. Like, you have to. It kind of can't go unmentioned right now. You got to stick with the trends, people. Like I said, okay? Call back. Got to stay relevant. Get it? Got it? Good. All right. Pish Posh Applesauce. I feel like I had a Berenstein Bears moment the other day, and it didn't shake me that bad because I realized that it totally it seemed very realistic that I could have forgotten. Not like Berenstein Bears, where it's like, don't fucking shit with me. But I also understand that, like, I barely knew how to read when I was reading those books, and it was totally possible that my teacher was just mispronouncing it. Um, but at the same time, like, I'm pretty I don't know why. I just firmly believe it. That one. But the new one that I saw was a lot more minor, but it was like Mike Myers, and it was Myers, and that just looked so bizarre to me. And I was like, when did they change it? And they never changed it, obviously, and that's always been it. But for some reason, I just never that I don't know. I guess I just really didn't know, or I completely forgot. I think that might have been the case. Like, I just completely forgot, and it was so shocking to me. Um, like, to see one, but then to realize that I forgot and it was completely out of my mind, I think was the crazy part. Not, which you could argue is the case for all of these Berenstein Bears Mandela type effects. That you're just so shocked that you could have forgot something like that. That you just don't believe it. But no, it totally made sense that I could have not realized that. But yeah, it was just really jarring for some reason. I feel like I've been trying to say jarring a lot more. I don't know why. I think it's a better description it's a nice specific description. Like, if you know what I'm saying when I'm saying it, right? Like, you get me. Um, gee, I wonder how much miscommunication happens because of poor vocabulary, like using too broad of statements. Oh, I wish I had an example off the top of my head. This is why you should take improv classes, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I won't do it, okay? So I'm sorry. The Mountain Dew doesn't drink itself. My name isn't Puxatawny Phil, the greatest Irish jig groundhog of all time. See, look at me. I'm an improv artist. Bravo me. I don't mean that with any disrespect to improv people. It's just not for me. Okay? Full disclosure, full disclaimer. So I don't want to hear it. Don't sue me. I don't have anything. You can't take anything from me. I would have to have something. Thank you. But yeah, I got the sun shining on my shoulders right now. Feeling nice and toasty. I got the breeze at my feet. So if I don't feel like I'm at Cedar Point, like, you know what I mean? I close my eyes and I'm in Sandusky, looking at the Ferris wheel glimmer in the sun off the water. What a magical place. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I could live somewhere coastal. I don't know what that would be like. I just feel like it's a totally different lifestyle. I mean, obviously, but I just mean, like, a Midwestern thing is pretty common to drive about 6 hours just to have, like, a fun weekend and come back. And not to say that people don't do that everywhere, all over. I just don't think that the destinations are as cool, frankly. Because, I mean, like, what's the California thing? You go, like, up to Napa? I'm not interested in that. I mean, I would do that, but is that a yearly thing? You know? And if you already live by the theme parks, like if you're in LA, do you go to them that often? Like, I always feel like if I lived close to, like, a place, it would just get old. Like, you would go, like, 1 year all the time and then maybe not even get a season pass the next time. I just think it's nice for fun to be at a slight distance to where, like, it makes it a little bit of a journey, but not that much effort to get to, if that makes sense. And I wonder, I would love to know geographically, like, where is the point of no return, where it's like you're stuck where you're at. You're either getting on a plane or you're taking a couple days just to get somewhere. I would guess the Kansas Wyoming area. But I mean, like, real talk, like, if you're along, like, if you live in, like, if San Diego, it's like everything doesn't really seem that far. It's like, do you ever really need to go anywhere? Like, the weather's always good. So, like, wouldn't you be more complacent to not travel? even semi locally, like via vehicle. Like, why check out another place if you're in a place that's awesome and like the weather's good? You know what I mean? Or do you get sick of like, is it always a grass is always greener thing? Because everybody in LA seems to not go anywhere, and that population just builds and builds. So I wonder, you know, I think that would be. I don't know if that has already been a reality show, but I think that that would be pretty cool. Don't make people like switch lives and families. You know, I mean, maybe make them like switch apart, like you know what I mean. Like I'm saying, like make them switch apartments, but like across the country, and like whatever they're like regular people with jobs. You know, you know what I mean. Like the clause for the show is you have to take a month off of work, or you know what I mean. And it's somebody like with a steady job, like the other person doesn't have to like worry about them getting evicted, like you know what I mean? Like while they're trying to film the show, like it's not trying to set anybody up for anything. It's legitimately like, let's take a dude from LA in October, mid October. Let's say just November to December. Because that's not too mean usually. But that's enough that he'll probably get a taste. And then just have him switch with like a dude, like just do like an LA Chicago swap. Same living situation, like same style of apartment. Um, and the showrunners will just pay the dudes what they would get paid as if they were working, but they get to just kind of live there for a month. So, like, you still pay your bills on your phone, whatever. Like, you just live your life just without a job there, and that way you can like really experience it, like 24 hours a day, um, and just see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there should be any stipulations, any rules other than that. Like, go do your thing. Like you're gonna be on camera the whole time, so it's probably not gonna go that well. You know what I mean? Um, like you're probably not gonna make a ton of friends or anything like that. So it's like really like you're kind of living a life of isolation in another place, and it's like you can decide which place is better or not. You know what I'm saying? Or like if you can take it, you know, because it's gonna be a pretty call back jarring experience. So call me, Fox. Who's that guy? Mark Burnett. Give me a call. I'll swap apartments with a dude in LA. I'd love to do it with a dude in New York, but I feel like a New York Chicago swap is just the Chicago guy being like, yeah, this is like a better thing. It's a better version. And then the New York guy's like, yeah, man, this is just like not the same. You know what I mean? There's just a lesser version. And on a much grander scale, they would think that, I think, is how that would go. But that's just based on the one time I went out there. Everybody, when they asked where we were from, like at the airport and shit, whatever whoever we talked to, when it was a New Yorker like that worked there or whatever they were doing, whoever it was, um, when we said we were from Chicago, there's like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean? Like instant blow off, not like, ooh, second place, nice. No, it's like, it's like they're 1 through 9, and then like we're maybe 10, or LA's 10 to them. I don't know. Maybe they're impressed by people from LA. That's how it was in Entourage. So that's all my knowledge of that. But yeah, I don't think that would be interesting. I think it would have to be like a contrast in weather would have to be a big thing, or it would have to just be a small, yeah, like one's a smaller and one's a bigger. But I think that those two are too close. I think New York and LA would be good, even though they're like the two biggest cities. I think that's a crazy swap. You know, you're going to totally different places. But imagine someone from like downtown Oklahoma City swaps with like a dude in Milwaukee. You know, like both of those guys are just going to be fish out of water instantly, you know? Because I think like the clean swap either way. Like if you're doing like a country thing, it would have to be with like another country thing. I don't think like putting somebody literally like, oh, you're going from the farm to like the middle of Miami. Like I don't think that that's fair. And that seems like that's been done. And anyway, if what I'm talking about has been done already, then this is a moot point. But yeah, I would love to see it. And I think that it would be pretty wild. Now, you could go the extra mile and like see like make the stipulations that like their friends have to like chill with this guy, at least to like feel him out like once, you know? Um that would be cool just to try to get some kind of interaction there. So like maybe like if they do hit it off and like the dude's like, yeah, I could be on camera for a month, like I won't make an ass of myself. Or maybe some guys are willing to. Who knows? But I think a lot of interesting things would happen, and I think it wouldn't cost anybody that much to make. You know, you're just flying people out, giving them, $2,000. You know, you obviously pay them to be on the show, whatever standard stuff happens there. But I think like the actual production cost wouldn't be that crazy. All the more incentive to do it. TLC, give me a call. Okay, it's my IP now. it's recorded, documented in content. But if I stole that idea, please direct me to that show and let me know how it is. I bet it's great. If it's not great, then it's not real. Just kidding. It's. I don't think it's a sure thing, but it sounds like it is. But I don't think you can call anything a sure thing. I was pretty confident in B movie. Beyond, like I was like, this is going to be one of the best animated movies of all time. I was like, Seinfeld's doing it, boom, and then like you look at the cast and it is just like top to bottom, like stacked, and it ended up being Ants. Like, you know what I mean? Just like another Ants, but with a better, crazier, cooler Seinfeldian plot. And rewatching it, its rewatch value is actually pretty high. I remember being disappointed in the theater, possibly due to my high expectations, which is, that's on me at that point. I understand that. But rewatching it later, like not as a kid, because that came out in '07, I think. So I was like 12 when that movie came out. So I also like didn't get a lot of the humor. There's a lot of adult humor in there, just like with the Ants. I'm a big Ants guy. I think Ants is better than A Bug's Life. I haven't rewatched A Bug's Life. I've rewatched Ants. Okay? Because it's like pure Woody Allen humor. And you can say what you want about the guy. That's not really the point I'm trying to stir up here. Okay? PC police. Yeah, but it just had like witty adult jokes. And like kids can still watch it and just not get the jokes. No problem. Like, I think that that's the best way to do humor in kids' movies is not try to shoot for a joke that's like in between being mature and immature, so it can like cross over to both. Like have jokes like that in there for sure. But I also think just like throw in a reference that no kid would ever get, but that's like harmless. You know what I mean? That's always a nice touch. But yeah, B movie has a lot of that like adult joke in it. Not like inappropriate, just not something that a kid would understand. And like technically, just because there's no sweat, you know what I mean? Like Seinfeld's stand-up is like technically kid appropriate for the most part. Like he talks about sex kind of, but I mean like his word choice has always been pretty PG. And yeah, that movie's got replay value. That's all I'm saying. I think give it a shot. Because, yeah, again, it wasn't like a sure thing 100% to my thought process. But it kind of was a sure thing in that it's pretty good, And I think people kind of want to dump on it because it's silly and it's kind of dumb. And, like, I get it. People are kind of making fun of Jerry for how he's been talking about it or whatever when it came up, whenever that happened. But I think if you actually just rewatch the movie, it's pretty sick. I mean, Ray Liotta is in it, like playing himself animated. It's fantastic. And it's like in New York City, of course, so it's like a cool, real thing. I feel like that's a thing that I like in animated stuff when it's like, okay, this is a real thing, which I talked about like with BoJack, like how they showed Chicago. Like, it was cool that it was set there, and it was cool that it was set in Hollywood in the first place. Like its own version of it, and that's dope. It should be. It's a cartoon about anthropomorphic animals. But yeah, I just feel like more animated shows should have real settings. And that would be cool. I don't know. I'm into the idea of like kind of like Linklater's thing with like A Scanner Darkly, like not necessarily in the plot of that, but like the realistic animation. So let's say the animation is whatever you want it to be, but the plots are like sitcom. Like Mike Judge, King of the Hill never really got that out of hand. You know what I'm saying? And there's plenty of examples. But I think that we need a new one. Let's set a place, but like set it in a real place. Let me get a cartoon, set in Seattle, whatever, Chicago, Washington D.C., wherever you want it to be. Set it in a real place that you know about. Green Bay. I think a cartoon set in Green Bay, Wisconsin would be cool. Okay, because you can do the seasonal stuff really easily. You can do snow jokes. You know what I mean? Like you can do cold stuff. Like I don't know, easy sitcom cartoon topics, you know? I think that like all the holiday episodes would be pretty sick there. I don't know, wherever, but I just think it's cool to see like cartoon recreations of places that we can look at pictures of. I don't know why that's satisfying. I think it goes in with my callback thing of conversion that I'm into, like converted spaces. Yeah, take this space and convert it into a cartoon. I don't know. Maybe that's all connected somehow, somewhere, some way. And on that note, I just finished my yerba mate. Took an hour, which is kind of unprecedented. Even when I'm sipping them slow, it's like a 10-minute thing. With the cans, oh man, I used to shake them up and just slam them pretty much. Like take a couple breaths for air, but it'd be like 3 gulp sessions and they'd be gone. Crush it, chuck it in the garbage. Bam, a cig, another cig. That's a lunch break right there. You know, that's how you spend 30 minutes when you're getting your ass kicked by the man, you know? uh yeah, good times. But yeah, these glass ones, I don't slam them as much anyway. They kind of, because it's a different kind of buzz. Whereas like I feel like the can ones are like straight up cup of coffee, like almost jitters. But this stuff never gives anything like that for me. But then the glass one's like a nice little buzz. Like you feel your skin a little tingly, you know, feeling good. Yeah, and that's always fun. But yeah, feeling good. Legs stretched out, feeling the vibes. Feeling the vibes. McConaughey style. Uh, I guess you could say that podcasting's like jazz, you know? If you're not sitting there with an outline script type of deal, maybe you just go with the flow. You just see what happens. You bounce around. You play a little bit. Sometimes you hit it. Sometimes you don't. But you just keep wiggling around. It's like the carousel, up, down, and around. I remember there was a guy who kept saying that while I was in line for the Raging Bull. It's a roller coaster. Has a long line, and the guy kept saying it to every car that came and went. And we were waiting in line for the front row, which meant it took 15 times as long, and he just kept doing it. He just kept doing the same bit over and over again, and I wanted to walk, like as soon as we got through those gates, I wanted to walk across the ride and just punch him square in the throat so he wouldn't say it. Then he said it, and we were gone, and then that was it. And then I think we had to wait in the back, and he kept doing it again, like once it was over. Just couldn't get out of there. You can't hold people in line tortured like that, because like, okay, here's why it doesn't make sense for you to do that bit over and over again, because you're doing it to each car as they load in, as if the people in line aren't right there. Like each car doesn't need to do it. You know what I mean? Everybody's still right there. They can clearly hear you. It's not. They knew you were gonna. You know what I mean? You did it already. It's not like everybody gets theirs. Like, oh, I can't wait till he does it to me. No. That's a hostage situation. That is unfair to subject people to that kind of domineering repetition. I will not stand for it. I'm going to get a change.org petition to go together. No repetition for roller coaster ride people. I feel like that's a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? You got to like hit the button at the right time. I just feel like, what if you hit the button and like somebody didn't give you that thumbs up? Or like, what if you're the guy who's like checking the things, but you didn't do that good of a job? Because you're like, what's the difference? Or you're like, I just don't like this job. But then like something goes down and you're like, oh, fuck. You know? Like, I just don't think that's fair, even in the rare cases. And it would never be a worker's fault. Anyway, you know what I mean? For malfunctioning equipment, that just shouldn't happen. Like you could put a little bit on them, but it's not their fault. You know what I'm saying? But Well, that's an argument to happen for when CNN picks up a story that's just like this. But you know what I mean? I just think that I wouldn't like that. 'Cause that's what I used to think as a kid. I used to think like, and I mean, I still kind of do. There's still a little bit of fear in me every time until the ride like really starts. Like even when you're going, especially when you're on the chain gang going up, um, that like there is a chance of it. Like I get that there's a chance, but like it's almost like you're playing the odds every time, if that makes sense. Um, Kind of like if you just run stoplights, like even when you know there's no traffic, you know what I mean? Like you're 100% doing a safe thing, but you're always putting yourself out there to get pulled over, and eventually it'll happen. And then you're like, oh fuck, all right, I'll stop doing that. You know what I mean? Like it was a harmless. You know what I'm saying? So like to me, it always seemed like that kind of like roll of the dice almost. um, and it still kind of comes in my head like that. And I think that happens with planes for me now too. I think I need half a Xan. I think I did this bit on the last one. Oh no! Callback. Damn, you can cop out anything as a callback. Yeah, so if I ever repeat myself going forward, it's me just doing a really clever callback or reference to a previous thing. So, there. I'm now copped out for life, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. And I think that's a good note to leave on. Excuse me. So yeah, I think we'll wrap this up today. Requiem for Tuesday. Please don't forget that I are fat, you are fat, we are fat. And enjoy the day. It's nice out. Calculator.